Hey, what the hell is happening with your face and your ears and your eyes and your nose and your lips? All that stuff's on a face. How are you? Good to see you. Look at you, man. You look like you just got up and you got some coffee. Now you're having a Danish. Cheese Danish. Those are good. Pass some over to me. No? All right. Hi, I'm Nick. This is my YouTube channel or my Patreon channel, depending on where you're watching this. YouTube channel, I make daily videos almost every day. Well, that wouldn't make them daily. Well, they're almost daily. Anyway, check it out. A bunch of videos here, like over 140 of them that date back for months and months. Movie reviews and stories and song, and talking about songs, which we're going to be talking about here. And all other kinds of really cool stuff. You can check out my podcast. That's a really cool thing. It's free. RadioMisfits.com. It's part of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Every Tuesday and Friday, there is a new episode of the Nick D Podcast. Make sure you check it out. The most recent episode had the incredible Suzanne Vega on it. An unbelievable interview that you really need to hear. So check it out. That's episode 37. But subscribe. Listen to all the episodes. Check me out on Patreon. That's the important thing. Because you donate and you give a little dough, it helps me to keep this going and my podcast going. And you get bonus materials. And, it's rough times nowadays. And so, like every little bit helps. And by little bit, I mean $3 a month. You can afford $3 a month. What is that? That's a Snickers bar and maybe a bottle of water. Maybe. You can't afford that to help out. You get bonus videos and bonus content, some stories that only my patrons get. Stories about WGN, behind the scenes stuff, the story about the firing, the assholes that are in charge of WGN. You'll get some stories, and you'll get more of them if you donate. Patreon.com/Nick D Show. Pick a tier, donate today. Don't be a dick. Thank you. All right. I watched this show called Top 10 Revealed. I love it. I love countdown shows. I love lists. I just think it's great. It's a great way to start conversations, to have some fun, and to debate and have and talk with your friends or talk with listeners from the radio show or the podcast, or communicate with people via the intranets like this, leaving comments and stuff. Lists are fun. Top 10 Revealed is this show hosted by Katie Darrell, who I find adorable and lovely, and it is a different list of music-related topics, a top 10 list. And this last episode was Top 10 Disco Songs. Yeah, man, disco. So I've got the list from the Top 10 Revealed show on AXS-TV. They picked they polled a whole bunch of people, audiences and professionals and all kinds of stuff. And then they do a half an hour show where they unveil the top 10 best disco songs. And they have talking heads show up and talk, like Sebastian Bach, who, by the way, I forearmed and knocked on his ass in a mosh pit. I knocked Sebastian Bach on his fucking ass in a mosh pit during a Soundgarden show. Not a lie, I did. I had to jump up and knock him down, but I did. So anyway, him, E.G. Daily, the voice of Buttercup, Powerpuff Girls, Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She was in Valley Girl. Awesome. Other musicians, Dee Snider, songwriters, actors, actresses. They all are talking heads, like the VH1 used to do, the best of this and the best of that. Well, it's set up like that. And they have the top 10 best disco songs. And I have the list here. It's a good list. It's not a great list. But then I have a list of some of my other favorite disco songs. Some of the disco songs that I think are great, that should have been mentioned as the best disco songs of all time. And then I have a few of my very, very, very favorites. Now, I must say this. Back when disco was at its height, I was not a fan. I was a secret fan, actually. I was a classic rock guy. I listened to The Loop. I listened to M.E.T., I listened to classic rock. For me, and at that time it wasn't classic rock, it was just rock. That's how old I am. I bought new Zeppelin albums. I bought new Sabbath albums. I'm that old. So the stuff that you hear on classic rock now, that's classic rock. For me, it was just, everyday rock. Like Bad Company, when their first album came out, I bought it when it came out. Now, the first Bad Company album is old classic rock. I'm that old. But anyway, I listened to rock. I listened to hard rock. Zeppelin, Sabbath, Jethro Tull, all of the the heavy, the hard rock shit. And I was on the whole disco sucks tag. I was part of that. I love Steve Dahl. I listened to Steve Dahl long before Gary Meyer even became his partner. I'm talking about way back in the day. I was part of the Insane Coho Lips. I went to Disco Demolition. I know a lot of people claim that, but I was there at Comiskey Park. When the riot started, my friends and my cousin and I just fucking left. And I was there. I brought my mother and father's copy of Saturday Night Fever, the soundtrack, to get in for 98 cents. You had to bring a disco record to get in. And then you know the whole thing, they blew up the disco records and blah, blah, blah. I went because I was like a hard rock fan. I was a fan of Steve Dahl's. And then, we all like wore the Disco Sucks t-shirts. We were all hard rock. Everybody was there was just dumb, stupid, burnout white guys with long hair. The smell of weed was thick in the air. Years later, it came to my attention that it seemed to be a celebration of all things anti-lifestyle, anti-gay. That it had a tinge of homophobia to it. And racism to it, which was the furthest thing from everybody's mind there. I mean, I know that you look at it now and you go, wow, they're really, these drunken, straight, like asshole, pot-smoking white guy jagoffs are really spewing some hate here. And if you look at it historically, it's like, wow, they really were ripping apart the lifestyle of the gay community in a big way. But that was furthest from what we were doing when we were there. That wasn't even on anybody's mind. And I know that it looks that way, but I will to my death, I will defend the fact that nobody was there because they hated gay people. Nobody was there because they wanted to make a statement about homosexuals or be anti-gay in any possible way or racist in any way. Everybody was high. Everybody liked hard rock. Nobody liked disco, and everybody was pissed that their favorite DJ, a rock DJ, Steve Dahl, got fired by a radio station because they changed formats to disco. So it had nothing to do with the gay lifestyle. That wasn't even it wasn't even remotely part of my thinking. And 90% of the people that I know who did the Disco Sucks thing, who listened to Steve Dahl, who thought it was funny, 90%, maybe even 100% of the people were not doing it because they hated gay people or were trying to make some sort of homophobic statement. We did it because the guy that we liked, our morning DJ guy, got fired by a radio station that went from rock to disco, and we were mad about that. It is not some horrible, racist or homophobic statement that was being made. It was a bunch of drunk, high dickheads. And now, granted, they were all dipshits, and it was a stupid fucking event, and it went down the toilet, and it was ridiculous. And historically, you look back at it and you go, wow. But that was 1979. Everybody was high, everybody was drunk, nobody gave a shit. We all looked like idiots with long, goofy-ass hair. It was a really dumb time. The late 70s were a very stupid time, especially for white guys, okay? Especially for white straight guys. But it was not some sort of effort to try and demolish a lifestyle or to be homophobic. It wasn't that. Now, I know it looks like that, and I know historically when I see what kind of effect it had on the gay community and what kind of horrible things the gay community was going through at that time, and disco meant a lot to the gay community. I understand that. But back then, that wasn't even on our minds. Stupid, moronic, historically, it looks bad? Yeah. Is it embarrassing? Fuck yeah. Was it at the time? Were we overtly being homophobic and racist? No, we weren't. We were high, we were stupid, we liked rock and roll, Steve Dahl got fired because of disco. That's it, period, end of story. Sorry, but that's the truth. Now, secretly, I couldn't listen to disco. I did. I liked disco. And then years later, after the whole I had to be a burnout and hang out with my jag-off, Black Sabbath t-shirt wearing high friends, I then started to openly admit that I like disco. But disco rules, and I love disco. Now I've gone into this whole historical thing about Disco Demolition that I didn't mean to go through. So let me fly through this list. The disco rules, by the way, I love it. I even loved it back then when I hung out with burnout jag-offs. Even when, I obviously still love hard rock and still love the heavy stuff. Black Sabbath is the greatest band ever. But I love disco. Here is the top 10, according to this AXS show. Top 10 revealed. From 10 to 1. 10, YMCA by the Village People. 9, Funkytown by Lips Inc. 8, I Love the Nightlife, I Like to Boogie by Alicia Bridges. 7, La Freak by Chic. 6, Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind, and Fire. 5, We Are Family by Sister Sledge. 4, I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. 3, Disco Inferno by the Tramps. 2, Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees. And number 1, Last Dance by Donna Summer. Now that's a pretty solid list. I don't know. I think I would probably switch some of the rankings here. Personally, I think Staying Alive should probably be number 1. But you can't make a disco list without including Donna Summer. She was disco. Disco Inferno, classic. Obviously, I Will Survive, which has become just a mantra and a song that everybody loves. It's still played all over the place today. We Are Family. The first thing I think of when I hear We Are Family or think of We Are Family, Pittsburgh Pirates. Sorry, that's how old I am. Boogie Wonderland, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'll get to Earth, Wind, and Fire later because they get a whole wing. If you're talking about best disco songs or R&B or soul songs, Earth, Wind, and Fire gets a whole, not just a wing, an entire fucking museum should be dedicated to Earth, Wind, and Fire. One of the greatest groups, bands, in the history of any kind of music. Not just funk, not just R&B, not just disco, anything. Earth, Wind, and Fire, one of the greatest artists ever. And so I'll get to more. But Boogie Wonderland, obviously a great choice. La Freak by Chic, another band. Chic, one of the most important, influential bands of all time. Nile Rodgers, please. The songs that Chic did, the bass lines that they created, one of the most sampled bands in the history of rap and hip-hop. So yeah, don't even get Bernard Edwards, all the guys from Chic. Chic is one of the greatest bands of all time. La Freak is on there. I love the nightlife. I like to boogie on the disco. Alicia Bridges, man. Whatever happened to her? Fucking short, crazy-ass haircut, crazy medallions. She was awesome. And action. I also like the way she said action. I love that song because it was about women going out to get laid at a disco. Most of it was like guys go out, find some chick at the disco, get laid, do a bunch of blow, and get laid. Well, this is from the woman's point of view. She also wanted to do some blow and pick up guys and get fucked. She did. And she wanted some action. Funkytown, Lips and Dead, and YMCA, Village People, a whole bunch of songs by Village People. Now, here are some of the ones that they kind of missed. Do You Wanna Funk by Sylvester? Come on now. Do you wanna funk with me? That's a jam. Do You Wanna Funk, Sylvester? They missed that one. Classic. What about Casey and the Sunshine Band? Not mentioned in the top 10. They had That's the Way, I Like It. They had Get Down Tonight. They had Shake Your Booty. They had I'm Your Boogeyman. They had the Casey and the Sunshine Band, 10 classic disco songs. How did they not include Casey and the Sunshine Band on that list? How about the SOS Band? Take Your Time, Do It Right. Take your time, do it right. That's a fucking jam. SOS Band, tell me if you still care about me. Jams. That one's a little bit past the disco era. And actually, the best stuff that SOS Band was past the disco era. Disco era would be from early-ish mid-70s to maybe 80. That would be the cutoff point. It's definitely a 70s thing. But yeah, SOS Band, they missed that one. Diana Ross, Love Hangover. How do you not have Love Hangover? Legendary song. Diana Ross had a few disco hits, but Love Hangover? Come on now. Come on, AXS-TV. Where's that? Michael Jackson had a few disco hits. His album Off the Wall, which I still consider to be the only great album that Michael Jackson ever released. Fuck Thriller, fuck Bad. Bad, one of the most aptly named albums of all time. Bad. And all the solo shit. Love him with the Jackson 5. Solo shit, all of it's crap except for Off the Wall, which has all the disco stuff like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Come on now. Taste of Honey, Boogie Oogie Oogie, Get Down, Boogie Oogie Oogie. Great disco song. Barry White, Can't Get Enough. Can't get enough of you, love, babe. One of the great things about the disco songs is the use of strings. I always loved that. I love that became an element of all disco songs, was these lush, incredible uses of orchestra strings. The string sections in disco songs were awesome. There's a great Barry White. Also, another one. The Andre True connection. More, more, more. How do you like it? How do you like it? Jam. Name some more here. Hughes Corporation. Rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. Don't tip the boat over. What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't tip the boat. Jam. Commodores. They had a bunch of them. Lady, you bring me up when I'm down. Bump, ba, down. Jam. And, of course, Brick House. One of the greatest songs of all time. Hard to believe Lionel Richie had anything to do with that, but he did. Yeah, Brick House. Commodores had a bunch of good disco songs. How about MFSB with TSOP? An instrumental disco jam. Yeah, strings, horns, all that cool shit. All the horn sections and the string sections, all that stuff is so cool. Some of the best songs in the disco era, I mean, some of the best songs ever are from the disco era, especially the way they're produced, the instruments that were used on it. I don't think a lot of people, I mean, I think now that people give it respect, I don't think people give the respect to the production that went into making some of these disco songs. So good. Rolls Royce Car Wash at the car wash. Big roller skating song. When I used to go roller skating every Tuesday at St. Andrew's Gymnasium, right on Addison, we'd go roller skating every Tuesday. That goddamn song, Car Wash, brought everybody out on the roller skating floor. I can still roller skate. I can skate backwards. I'm a badass on the roller skates. When they come back in style, I won't do anything because I'm old. Amy Stewart, Knock on Wood. Knock on Wood, come on. You gotta knock on wood, baby. Let's see. Silver Convention, Fly, Robin, Fly. Fly, Robin, Fly. Again, incredible strings on that song. Fly, Robin, Fly. Where was that on the list? Anita Bell, Ring My Bell. Or I'm sorry, Anita Ward, Ring My Bell. Anita Ward, Ring My Bell. You can ring my bell. Fucking jam. Jam. Listen, look at all of these great disco songs. Man, was I a jag-off in 1979 when I went to the disco Demolition. Yvonne Elliman, If I Can't Have You. What do we, come on. And by the way, like, all of the, like a ton of these songs appeared on that soundtrack that I brought, that I stole from my parents' record collection to get in for 98 cents. The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. Amazing. But yeah, If I Can't Have You, Yvonne Elliman, Jesus Christ, how good a song is that? Nice hair. Abba, Dancing Queen. Not an Abba guy myself. Mamma Mia made me want to jump out of a window and kill myself. I'm not a big ABBA guy, but, and ABBA's had a few disco dance songs from that era. But Dancing Queen, I mean, you can't talk about great disco dance songs and not mention Dancing Queen by ABBA. Let's see, what else do we got here? Van McCoy, The Hustle. How is The Hustle not in that top 10 list? Do the hustle. Dink, 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 a dink, a dink, ding, ding, dink, a ding. Now, come on now. How do you make a top 10 list, AXS-TV, and not include The Hustle? I mean, one of the biggest dance crazes in the history of dancing. Ojs Love Train. All aboard. Going Love Train. Come on, man. The Ojs? Jam. They were more R&B soul. Their best stuff happened before the disco thing took off. But then I Love Music by the Ojs. There's like 5 or 6 Ojs songs that they missed. And then we have Shame by Evelyn Champagne King. Are you kidding me? Fucking jam. How do you not include Shame, Evelyn Champagne King? You don't know that one? YouTube it now. And then getting back to Donna Summer, who I think a lot of people would arguably say was the queen of disco. In addition to Last Dance, which was considered the best disco song of all time, according to that list. I Feel Love, where she's like having orgasms and stuff during that song. Love to Love You Baby, another one where she's like having orgasms all over the place. Bad Girls, She Works Hard for the Money. Hot Stuff. 10, 12, 15 great disco songs by Donna Summer. They picked Last Dance, which makes sense, but Donna Summer, one of the greatest contributors to the disco era ever. And then getting back to Earth, Wind & Fire. Now, Earth, Wind & Fire, they chose Boogie Wonderland as number 6, putting in the top 10 disco songs of all time. No argument. Again, like I said before, Earth, Wind & Fire, one of the greatest groups in the history of any kind of music. Unbelievable. I've seen them live a few times. They always come out, there's 77 people on stage, and they all have like the same costumes on. Sometimes there's 90 people. Sometimes the people on stage outnumber the audience with Earth, Wind & Fire. They all wear fantastic outfits. Philip Bailey, Maurice White. I mean, come on. One of the greatest bands of all time, some of the greatest songs of all time. You cannot go wrong with Earth, Wind & Fire. That's basically it. Whether it's disco or R&B or soul or whatever. Anything. You cannot go wrong with Earth, Wind & Fire, one of the most important and greatest bands of all time. Here are some of the songs that could have fit into the disco list here. Let's Groove, okay? September, for Christ's sake, September. One of the greatest songs of all time. Do you remember? Come on. After the Love Is Gone. Reasons? Come on, man. Woo! Shit. Shining Star. Fantasy, Sing a Song, Mighty Mighty, Devotion, Can't Hide Love, That's the Way of the World. I could go on for another 17 hours with all the unbelievable songs by Earth, Wind, and Fire, one of the greatest bands of all time. And when you're talking disco, there's at least 15 to 20 songs that need to be mentioned by Earth, Wind, and Fire. And then my two favorite disco songs of all time, which were not on the list, which were not mentioned. And they're my two favorites because they sound pretty much exactly the same. The bass line is exactly the same. The structure is pretty much exactly the same. And in my opinion, they're tied as the two best disco songs of all time, and also by one-hit wonders. These were not artists that went on to have classic songs or any other hits. They were one-hit wonders. So not only are my two favorite disco songs almost identical, but they are also by artists who only had one hit. The first one being Best of My Love by Emotions. Best of My Love, which opens up the movie Boogie Nights, which I just saw on the big screen last week. That opening tracking shot, all done to Best of My Love. Whoa, whoa, you got the best of my love. Oh, it does not get better than that. If you want music perfection, there it is. Best of My Love, Emotions. A perfect song. That's another video I have to do. Counting down perfect songs. Songs that are fucking perfect. Best of My Love by Emotions, perfect. Best disco song of all time, except it's tied with a song that sounds very much like it. Maybe you know where I'm going with this. If you know a song... Jesus, my fucking hair. Look at this. Hey, hey. Hi. Hi. I'm a monkey. So, anyway, here it is. Got to Be Real by Cheryl Lynn. To be real. You got to be real. Oh, man. What you find out. I think I love you, baby. Fucking jam. Jam. Again, bass line is exactly the same as Best of My Love. Sounds structurally exactly the same. They're kind of the same song. So Cheryl Lynn with Got to Be Real and Best of My Love by Emotions. The best disco songs of all time. Of all time. And all these other songs, fantastic. You can't go wrong with them. All the list that they did on the TV show, good list, left out a few. And then all these other songs, including the library of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Diana Ross and Donna Summer, and then of course the two greatest disco songs of all time, Best of My Love and Got to Be Real. All right, so there you go. AXS-TV, you can check it out. The Top 10 Revealed is the TV show. Top 10 disco songs they went on. And then I just gave you a few of mine. I know there's dozens and dozens and many, many more. Leave them here. Leave your comments. Leave them all over the place. If you want to call into my podcast and leave them on my voicemail on my podcast, you can do that as well. 773-417-6948. That's the number if you want to leave it. And so there you go. All right. And by the way, again, I just want to reiterate that while Disco Demolition was really fucking stupid, that most of the people involved were either very, very drunk, very, very high, or both, or on coke, or acted like dumbasses, and it was a really stupid period. Yes, it was all that. It was very stupid. But in the thinking, in the moment, it was not homophobic and it was not racist. It was just really fucking stupid and done by a bunch of people who were like herbed up and coked up and beard up and schlitzed up. That's it. That's it. Steve Dahl would be the first to admit that too. So anyway, it was dumb, but was not homophobic. That's all there is to it. But God, it was stupid. We were so stupid because disco rules. All right. Hey, man, enjoy the nightlife because you like to boogie.